A fast RTX 4070, a well-made and sturdy plastic chassis, a QHD 165Hz display, quite the assortment of I/O, and all of this for a great price? That would be the Gigabyte Aorus 16X in a nutshell, and as far as gaming notebooks go, with this sort of spec sheet, it is one of the most affordable options currently available. We tested the good-looking 16-incher with Intel's i9-14900HX feeding fresh frames to Nvidia's upper mid-ranger a few months ago already, but this one right here in front of me is the lower-end config, exchanging the i9 for a 13th gen i7, which shaves off a few $100, making this the much better pick when shopping for your next gaming companion. So let's see if the price comes with any apparent and, pun intended, game-breaking compromises, and how much performance you have to give up when going from Intel's flagship to last-gen silicon. Again, we had access to two variants of Gigabyte's mid-range gamer, the high-end config, which combines the previously mentioned i9-14900HX and RTX 4070 with 32 GB of RAM and a 1TB SSD, and the lower-end sibling, which cuts the RAM in half at a slightly lower frequency but keeps the rest the same. While the lid is made from aluminium, the rest of the body is made from plastic, which keeps things nice and sturdy overall, with hardly any flags around the relatively clean-looking chassis. The hinges cannot completely prevent screen wobble, but this problem is shared with much more expensive devices. Again, the overall design is quite understated, but with the RGB lights at the rear exhausts, the translucent WASD area, and some additional design cues on the palm rest, the 16X reveals its gaming chops at second glance. Gigabyte definitely did their homework when it comes to ports, with two USB-As of the faster 3.2 Gen 2 standard, one USB-C of the same variant, a Thunderbolt 4, a network jack, HDMI 2.1 and a micro SD card reader with excellent transfer rates. Wi-Fi transfers are comparable to the competition when receiving files, but our measurements reveal quite low numbers when sending data, which hopefully will be addressed with future updates. There is nothing to complain about though in the maintenance area. The Aorus offers two SODIMMs and a pair of NVMe slots. In addition, you can swap the Wi-Fi module, which might be something to keep in mind considering our transfer results. When it comes to both the keyboard and the touchpad, we can keep it short. Both are above average and should hardly offer any real reason to complain. The keys offer solid travel and a somewhat clear pressure point. And it's definitely not the best keyboard for a gaming laptop these days, but it is very far from the worst. The spacious trackpad lets you click on things and navigate your everyday computing environments without any problems as well. The 16-inch QHD Plus display is one of the highlights of the 16X for me when shopping for a gaming laptop under $1,500. Most manufacturers sacrifice panel quality to lower the price, but that's definitely not the case with the Aorus. With more than 500 nits of average brightness, solid brightness distribution for an IPS panel and above average contrast with full sRGB coverage and snappy response times, there is lots to like here. If you want to use the Aorus for some semi-professional color grading though, you might want to calibrate it yourself, since the factory calibration is quite a bit off. If you do not have the necessary equipment, you can also download our profile from our written review on the website. You can find a link in the description below. Alright folks, let's talk performance. How much of a chance does a 13th gen i7 have against Intel's current in-house flagship? Well, to be honest, not a big one. If we directly compare the 13650HX against the 14900HX, it's clear which one you should pick for pure CPU grunt. But that is to be expected, given that we are talking about just half the efficiency cores and just 6 performance variants. Compared to the competition, the higher-end 16X can almost lead the pack of similarly equipped and priced gaming laptops, whereas the i7 can still hold its own against Meteor Lake or Ryzen-powered notebooks. But this is of course a gamer, so how does the difference in CPU performance influence what the GPU can bring to the table? Well, in our synthetics at least, the difference is almost non-existent in TimeSpy, and to our surprise, the i7 variant has the edge in the usually more CPU-bound Firestrike, which most likely comes down to different power allocations between both core components. So how about the real world? Well, in Cyberpunk in QHD, a more GPU-bound scenario, there will be no significant difference, and in our testing, the i7 variant is even a tiny bit faster. I decided to use Strange Brigade as a heavily CPU-dependent title, and here the 14900HX can flex its muscles very impressively. Your mileage will vary here, of course, depending on the games you are playing and whether you stick to Full HD or the 16 inches native resolution. If you are interested in our full suite of benchmarks for the i9 variant, our stress test and temperature results, or more GPU accelerated tests, please make sure to head on over to our written review. We have a lot more data for this one. Speaking of GPU acceleration, before we continue with our regular review, let's hear a quick word from our sponsor. Together with our German retail partner Notebooks Billiger, we looked back at the past 2 years and put together a list of our favorite creator notebooks sporting Nvidia's latest series of mobile RTX GPUs. With gorgeous displays sporting new OLED and mini LED tech, lots of RAM and storage for all of your creative projects, fast CPUs and unique form factors, these notebooks have you covered for all of your design work, video editing needs, and even the most advanced CGI workflows. So if you are serious about getting stuff done, a dedicated 40 series GPU not only gets you quite a boost in raw computing power, but with deep software support across everything standard in the creative industry, all mobile GPUs, starting from the 4050 all the way up to the laptop RTX 4090, bring tremendous benefits to the table, not only accelerating almost everything you do, but for some workflows even enabling you to do things that are simply not possible or viable on other platforms. So please make sure to check out the full video and follow the links below for more information about Nvidia's Studio program, or get shopping right away with Notebooks Billiger's selection of available creator laptops. Fan noise is within reason given the core components, and you do have quite a few options when it comes to power levels and even finer fan speed controls, even though it's a bit confusing to navigate Gigabyte's management application. In addition to a total of 6 performance presets, you can also manage the mux switch behind some weirdly AI-labeled settings, and you can access fan controls separately if you really want to. It's great to have so many options to change your laptop's behavior, but as a more casual user, you might also have trouble finding the right setting for your needs. But please enjoy our noise samples and let me know what you think about the 16X in the comments below. This leaves us with battery life before we can wrap things up for today. Even the i9 variant of the 16-incher delivers about 8 hours during our Wi-Fi test, which is actually very solid given this particular hardware. Unfortunately, the i7 16X falls very short of these results, which is quite the head-scratcher given the overall weaker CPU. So what do we think about the Aorus 16X? Well, if you're looking for a well-made and practical gaming laptop that you can take to class or the office, that comes with a really good display and should not cost more than 1500 bucks, well, then absolutely go for it. There is not a single area in which the 16-incher really disappoints, and in most of our testing categories it sits above the similarly equipped and priced competition. And given our results, you can easily skip the more expensive i9 variant, since there aren't that many use cases where the faster CPU will give you any feelable real-world benefits. But please folks, let me know what you think about this puppy, and if you have any other more budget-oriented recommendations, feel free to post them in the comments below. That should be it from my end today. Thanks a ton for watching. My name is Alex, you have been fantastic, and I will see you all in the next one. Take care.